Hey everybody, that brown bat back once again for another episode of Bat in the Box, Starkiller base, let's build. And what we got going on, yes, the speed is ramped up. The speed is ramped up here, times 2. So, you know, if there's an issue, you can go to the YouTube control and you can slow it down. But a lot of this build is, do I want to do this or do I not want to do this? It's a lot of terrain. This is the exterior. It's very hard. I'm doing this in post while I'm watching the replay of this in times 2, double speed, whatever. It's very difficult to do commentary on an exterior when it's all terrain, especially when I'm learning the techniques of making hills and mountains. So this is what you get. So you're watching my learning experience here. Now, this part of Starkiller base is like an aircraft carrier stuffed into a mountain. So a lot of the stuff we'll build in this, not a lot. This is the gist of it. This is how do I say? This is the basic concept, even though some of the stuff will be changed in later episodes. I think I'm at the point where I'm done with one part, and it's going to be like 20 episodes. Yeah, so then we got to do the interior. Let's see, for the exterior, it's divided up into 3 parts. It's divided up into the forest and the hills. Well, they're all hills, right? The forest and the Falcon crash site and the station there. The station. They didn't even explore it really. Finn said over that ridge, that's the flooding tunnels. So that's the other part. See right here, I'm trying to figure out what in the world I'm going to do. And I guess we just need to build up behind it. It looks all smooth now, but man, I'll tell you, in the end, it's underneath. Oh boy, that's what happens. It's what happens when you have different layers of terrain. You end up with jagged edges and everything. Eventually we settle on, right here, smooth terrain slope 5. This becomes our basis of almost everything to do with hills. Not 100% everything, but the majority. You do see me from time to time trying to figure out if there's something else that can be put in here, and it all comes down to smooth terrain slope 5. Fits everything. Helps us go up, helps us go down, and helps us run out of space. But these pieces are huge. So when you get to the final act, you're gonna see a massive playset, or toy box, I should say. And interesting to note, the Lego Star Wars Force Awakens Starkiller base, which is awesome. It's a little bit romanticized. They took liberties to put stuff in there, I guess, to flesh it out more. But yeah, it's not exactly the way it was in the movie. Neither's this, but I had to, because the movie, the section precinct, what is it, 57, where Starkiller base is, or the where the oscillator is, where the majority of the base, or I say the majority of the film took place on the base. It's just this, really. this and a command outpost that's on a hill or a higher mountain. But anyway, yeah, it's just boring. But it's a lot of snow, a lot of terrain, and I'm putting these together as fast as I can. Now, I think in the first episode I mentioned Calhoun's command. It's the best for these. I know I mentioned that. I would say, I don't know if I want to change it here, but feel safe to use Death Star terrain. Because I don't know if it's in this episode, like I said, but it could be in the next one, or it could be in the one after that. I don't remember. But I did experiment, and Death Star terrain looks better. Except for when you use the roof. You want to use Calhoun's or something like that if you use the roof, because the Death Star has that shiny floor. And right here, we're using that Naboo barrier for the door. And I hope I get it right on this one. And you'll see I'm making it, how long I'm making this. It does get cut down to accommodate for toy box size later on. But yeah, this is another one where you have to break the collision. Now we got to make sure everything's lined up. Now the way I have it here is okay, and I think I change it, but this is it's okay to do it this way. But I'm eventually I take some simple toys and I make the angle come out to meet this, and we change the floor later on anyway. But like I said, very much trial and error when you venture into something that you've never really done before. And I know I built toy boxes before, but this is different because, like I said, we're dealing with, it's outside, and we have slopes and, you know, ramps and everything. So the majority of this came from I was trying to use Lego Star Wars, but after watching the movie again, you know, I couldn't use the Lego Star Wars references for the outside. Except for the building structures, like you see here. This totally, yeah, see right here? Those ramps want to come flush with the walls. So I'm deleting everything to bring this out. But the door idea right here, totally concept came from Lego Star Wars. So I guess the best measuring part, or the best measuring technique to do with putting this in there, put that in there first, and then make sure when you put those ramps in that there's no gap. So now I think I have it. Yeah. So now we can bring the trigger areas back in. The other thing is, I don't know if you were able to catch it, the space you want to leave to start is 5 blocks wide to do to put the Naboo door in there. And then you'll come around and doctor everything up on the inside. I don't know why I decided to do Star-Lords there. Or I think I'm just testing. Maybe I didn't know yet. Yeah, maybe I hadn't decided yet. But you'll see. Hopefully it's in this one. But there's the solution to what I'm going to do is great. Yep, the large black walls. Now I have to figure out what texture I'm going to do. It's going to be dark chrome. So I'll tell you that right now. Because a lot of... You notice in the Death Star, I used that steel for the doors. But watch the movie. And you'll see that the doors are more shiny than the Death Star. Still haven't figured it out yet. There we go. Bring it out just a half. And of course, if you're a wall crawler, you can break this, but and get stuck on the other side, but don't get stuck on the other side. If it hurts, don't do it. That's what I learned. I couldn't accommodate for, oh, Spider-Man does this, or Black Panther can get stuck in here. You know what the solution is? Just don't try to get stuck. You know, we can't fix it. Still trying to figure it out. There's a couple ways you can do the doors. You can do one long piece like I have there, or you can do the diamond door, triangle door, however you want to do it. There's no set way where it has to be. You'll know what I'm talking about, the diamond door. That's the typical was it a hexagon? Just trying to get everything in position the right way. I pretty much have it down now where I don't mess around when I do these. But this was like the first time or second time or something like that. Trying to get it right. But after you do it enough, it doesn't become a problem. See right there? You want... Oh, I didn't do it yet. Come on. Dark Chrome, where are you? Any day. See, now I'm just figuring out, oh, what do I use? Should I use Chrome? Dark Chrome? I don't know. And depending on what the Sky Dome is, will change the Dark Chrome visuals. So now I'm going to try to bring that in there for a... Alright, let's see what we got. So that's what I call our trapezoid. Yeah, our trapezoid door. But I don't think I'm going to do that. I think I'm just going to make the standard Death Star doors, which... And no, the doors themselves are dark chrome, but the barriers are steel. The borders. There we go. Now we have our 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, our hexagon door. Just like Vader likes. It's pretty common for the Death Star, so why not use it in the Starkiller base, right? Now we're going to change our Sky Dome. It's going to end up... I've been using Hoth terrain, or Hoth Sky, or... what is it called? That. Hoth. Echo Base. Run around, Kylo, and show the people what you just did. Alright, now we're going to set up our trigger area to activate the doors once we enter into the toy box. So we'll set everything up to a time delayer. So when the time delayer is done, it's going to close. So an exited player any. I think I'm going to change that. Yeah, later on I changed that to player 1. So if you're following along, just say player 1. Just because player 2... The other things that I hook up to it, player 2 can mess it up with the vehicles that I'm going to have spawn in later on. What's cool about this, I don't know if I... Yeah, you do take damage. You take damage. Now I'm going to raise this up 2 tiers. I'm going to raise this up 2 tiers, but don't worry about that. It's only going to be 1. Like I said, I was experimenting, and there's no clear shots of what this looks like in the movie up close. At least not yet. But it does show that there is an extension on the what I call the fortress. Trying to figure out, well, should I meet it with the slopes or put it right there? And ultimately what you do, you line it up where the top of the slope is so it overhangs a little bit, and then you take your narrow ones and fill in behind it. So, if you want it to go this tall, then you're more than welcome, but I do end up ripping this the top part off. Like I said, when I got to the end, when I got to the end of this, well, what I thought was the end the first time, I had no space left, and the message just kept popping up. And it's weird that you get to the point where you're almost out of space and you're adding blocks, then all of a sudden you can't add any more. So you delete one, right, and try to put it back. You can't put one back. In order to compensate, you have to save your game and reload it, and it refreshes the memory. But anyway, I had too many blocks, too much stuff going on. And definitely had to compensate. Compromise. I had to compromise and delete things. But in the case of this part right here, it's fine. Delete this, good. Because it looks better when it's short. And we had to reload from the autosave. So there's a couple things that we're going to have to redo, I believe. What happened, I don't know if you noticed it, but the display, the menu options disappeared. And when the menu options disappear when you're in Spark mode, guess what? You can't get out of Spark mode. That happens sometimes in regular mode where you can't get into Spark mode. So you can't do anything. Start doesn't work, nothing. So you just gotta shut the game off and reload it, and hopefully you had an autosave. And we did, and I think this happens one more time in the course of this, 3 more times actually. Yeah, I gotta make sure these line up so you don't have any half spaces. So of course that does look cool. And maybe we will utilize that when we do the flooding tunnels. And I've looked and looked and looked. I have no idea what the flooding tunnels entail, but I think that's what gave Han the notion to ask Finn, what was your job when you were positioned here? Sanitation. I think the flooding tunnels have to do with cleaning, sanitation. Not necessarily sewage, but, well, snow melts. And when they activate the weapon, yeah, I'm putting a ramp here, which gets taken out in the next episode. When they activate the main weapon, snow melts because it's hot. So that snow has to go somewhere when it turns to water, and I believe that's probably what the flooding tunnels are, is a path for the water to get out so it doesn't flood where they don't want it to flood. I think it's just a controlled method of getting the water to another part of the planet. I think. I could be wrong. It could be explained in the novel, but I haven't read it. And I haven't heard anybody talk about it. All I know is Starkiller Base is no more. And I hope they don't build another one. I'm thinking they'll probably build something like the Sun Crusher from Legends or the Expanded Universe. I can't think of what else they would do. I think there's always going to be a super weapon. Maybe not in episode 9, but probably in 10. Or wait, 7. Maybe not in 8, but probably in 9. They'll probably have another super weapon like Return of the Jedi. There was no super weapon in Empire Strikes Back, but there was another one in Return of the Jedi. And they're talking about betrayal, too, in the next movie. And I'm wondering, I doubt it's Poe. I've read forums where people think it's Poe. Why? All right, make sure you save your progress every now and again. But I think it's Finn, and here's why. And I don't think it's going to be his choice. I think Finn will betray or have the potential to betray, and since it's not his fault, and he's going to live. I think he's going to be mind controlled. I mean, why wouldn't you put an inhibit some kind of mind control device in the stormtroopers, or some sort of failsafe? Maybe he will be in a position. Maybe it won't be mind controlled. Maybe it'll be something like, remember Anakin, little baby boy Anakin, right? In Phantom Menace, they put a chip in. They didn't show him take it out. He goes, "Hey, blow you up." And for the longest time, I thought it was just something that like Watto told him to keep him from running away. But no, apparently they did in canon. Shmi and Anakin and all the other slaves had chips in them, so I don't know if they would actually kill them or not. But let's say they did that to the stormtroopers, and Finn realizes that he's going to die or be subject to excruciating amounts of pain. Maybe he would compromise with the First Order and ultimately pull a Lando. You know, make sure that you have an ample amount of space if you're going to do this, even though for these crenellations here, they have to line up to the wall. And I think what happened right here, yeah, I can't remember if there's an overhang, but if you are going to do this, make sure you have enough space so when you get back to the wall, you have an even amount. That being said, I'm deleting that top part of that extension anyway later on. We need the space. Right here you can't tell. Cool idea. But we didn't have the space to do it that way. Okay, actually, this is the result of 2 different episodes. Since I'm, sped it up, I was able to get 2 episodes in one, really. So anyway, this is what I was talking about. I'm deleting this part. What happened in the transition between the 2 episodes that I combined together was I did a lot of practice, and I maxed out the toy box. So, that was 8 hours or 6 hours or worth of practice that, just got flushed down the toilet. So I maxed it out, and that's where I realized that I had to compromise some blocks here. So we're making it shorter. And we're making it, shorter, shorter vertically and shorter horizontally. So taking this out. Yes, this is where I decide to change it to Death Star terrain. Alright, so the top is going to be Calhoun, and the sides and everything, Death Star. And no! Bring that back a little bit. We're off half. There we go. Now, that top part. There are 2 parts. There are 2 scenes in the movie that show the viewpoint from the command center. And although those are probably the same exact set, the view from the windows are completely different. One of them, the outlook where Hux is looking at the oscillator being attacked by Poe, and the other one when the Starkiller base is being crumbled, when it's crumbling, when it's falling apart, getting ready to blow up. The viewpoint is of the landing bay right here, instead of out over the mountains, viewing the oscillator. So, I have determined, since it's 2 different viewpoints, they're 2 different command centers, even though it's probably the same set to save money. But if all the command centers look the same, why not use the same set? It saves you money, right? When making a movie. So the window that they were looking out of at the end, if you remember, one of the commanders was retreating and they said, "Get back to your station." And he says, "Even General Hux is gone." And he runs out the door. And then it shows Hux going into snow because the base is falling apart. "Bring me Kylo Ren to complete his training," blah, blah, blah. So that guy wasn't looking out of the same command center as Hux was earlier. And if you look closely, zoom in, you'll see some windows on these towers. Very tiny, but these towers are kind of big. But we made it smaller just to... Well, there's no way we can make this exactly to scale with the space that we're allotted. So we're putting windows here. And you use that daringly dark glitter. It works perfect for windows. And I'm putting the crenellations back on top. So you make this wider. You don't need those back there. So you save yourself a couple extra blocks. Yeah, I wanted to see what happens if I make the windows like this. We will use the windows like that, definitely, on the second command center, but this doesn't look right here. So definitely I am changing this. But if you think that's cool, be my guest. I'm actually, you'll see here in a little bit, I will change it back to square. See, that was my decision. So if you like it the second way, go ahead. You will be using a little bit more blocks if you do that. You'll be using, what, 3 more? Which will be on 2 sides, so you'll be using 6 more. And again, make sure it goes right to the wall. You don't need a back. Now we have to... Are we doing that yet? Ah, yes. Change the road to Dusty Craphopper to make him look more like a landing strip. Set the theme on that, and because we need 2 more pieces going to the right on this side and to the left on the other side. The same method as before. Put 1, now I have to go another. Alright, and then same thing over there. And in retrospect, now that I'm looking back, I should have shortened it by 1 on each side to make it narrower right in the middle. Save a little bit more space. So I themed all to the same thing again, which is harder to track on which ones you need to individually theme. So theme it to something else if you get in that predicament. Just so you're not theming every single one of them. and then go back. Now that they're set, theme all back to what you want. And of course, we're using the Death Star hanger pieces and the on the other end of the toy box, so they're Asgard right at the moment. And I know episode 1 I said let's make all these at an incline, but you know, after watching the movie, we got to do something a little bit different. Now I decide that I have to make that even shorter. The bunker. If you want to call it a bunker. Alright. Gonna get the Tron Legacy power disc. This whole thing has to be moved. So I didn't want to change the logic on the door, so I didn't delete that. But everything else I deleted, and we're just going to rebuild this thing again. Hopefully it's quicker than the last time. Okay, same thing happened again. The menu disappeared. So, all right. Back to Death Star theme. We have the same issue again, where the menu disappeared. So, had to reload it. Okay, so. Put that back in. Do I measure it right here? I should. With the simple toys. Yeah. Go get the vertical ramp and make sure that lines up, and it doesn't. So bring that forward just a little bit, and then we should be good. That's going to be steel. Alright, get those. Same thing as before, but now we know what we're doing. So that's going to be chrome. We sort of know what we're doing. Bring that all the way across. We don't need it that far across, but we don't need it. You'll see. I'll delete the ends because they're ultimately getting covered up by another block. right, put the top in. Bring that out. So now you can delete those other pieces. You didn't even need to put those in the first place, but I wasn't, depending on how you make it, I guess. Because if you make a hallway, you're definitely going to want to leave those other pieces out if it's going to expand out. You'll see when we get into the interior, it won't be as narrow. Well, you've seen it when I did the Death Star. Alright, now we need to put a top on it. Alright, get rid of the trigger areas, but we need another trigger area for the top. And since there's 3 of those flat pieces in there, you could, very well put a whole big piece in there. But the thing is, you get to see the creases in the blocks, which look more like a door than the full piece, the big, the large one. So the narrow ones together, I think, look more like a Star Wars door. Okay, let's activate that. See, I didn't delete that, so we kept the same logic connection. All right, this part right here, we're getting rid of it. We're totally going to have it line up with the those towers. So that means that section is getting lobbed off. Brown Bat, do you know what you're doing? No. Part of this is going to be covered up. I don't know why, but it looks like part of it's open, part of it's closed. So that's what we're doing. So we're putting a roof on part of the hangar. And this, of course, I believe, if you remember when Rey was going to escape, could be a totally different part of the base. But I think this is the part of the base that she was going to escape from. Before she met up with Finn, Han, and Chewie. Ultimately, in each bay, I'm going to have 4 of those. I wanted to have 3, but it works just as well having 4 of them. So I was trying to experiment here with a shorter, to see if I could get a shorter piece, to see if one of the texture or themes were shorter. And if they were, I just put those together and then theme each one back to the Death Star motif, but they're all the same length. So if you notice, the ones up front are higher, and then the ones right here are lower. And there's a reason for that, because we're covering the ones down, or towards the end, we're covering them up with the ceiling. And now it equals perfect. It equals perfect. And of course we need trigger areas to transcend the barrier. And I start out, and for the roads, I want to get the seam of the road in the middle. So go into Dusty Crop Hopper, get that lined right up there with the. Of course, these are the wide roads. And I was thinking originally, well, I'll just coat the whole floor with the road pieces, right? To save space. That way I wouldn't have any gaps. But the thing is, that would offset the middle of the landing strip, and it always drives me nuts. And every toy box I've done, using the roads that way, where the middle doesn't line up with anything. So we'll do it this way. We're using extra pieces, of course, than what we would really have to do, but the end result looks a lot better, less sloppy. You know, sometimes sloppy really doesn't matter that much if you're trying to save space, but this time, sloppy is unacceptable. So get these pieces to line up. It's going to be Death Star. Do I do that here? I'm going to change it to Calhoun. We're going to change that to Death Star. Just to let you know. Make sure everything lines up. I just remembered we're going to have an issue here shortly. Yep, here it comes. All right, what am I looking? Oh, contemplating whether or not I should use the blocks that we used for Hux's platform, which would be the middle. What are they? Middle mountain ledge or something like that. Because they didn't give us a big inverted ramp. This comes close, but if you're doing something this wide, then you need something that's a steeper angle. And I just realized what I could have used. Oh my goodness. I could have used the road piece. So we're putting these down. These aren't going to work. They don't look right. And it's not until like the end, until I'm finished with everything, where I realize I'm not even bothering with the angle. But I could have used a ramp for the road, turned it around, and then blocked it in. Providing that the width of this is divisible by 4. I could have done that. I didn't. And the end result is fine. You'll see it when we get there. This takes up way too much space. That's one of the reasons why I had to get rid of that. This method. And this is just a bunch of confusion. We're going to have to take out the Death Star hangar pieces and move them back. Otherwise, when we go, see, it sticks out. It doesn't look right. So I'm just going to fast forward until we get to the part where I start doing it right. Okay. Now we can put our entrance like this, which lines up with the Death Star piece. Long ramp on the bottom, short ramp on top. Theme them to steel. I think I try white first, but it doesn't work. It doesn't look right. So steel is good. It just doesn't look right. It looks right for the going up against, you know, the actual entrance. Yeah, lighting doesn't work either. Usually steel will work anytime. It's one of those things that doesn't work. Use steel. Brown panel works a lot too. The Tatooine brown metal tile. It works for a lot of situations. All right, take that out. Now we still have the issue of overhang, I think. So we're gonna back the Death Star hangar pieces back one more. And you can clearly see it's gonna... Oh, no, it's not. Never mind. I thought it was gonna overhang. Okay, so we don't have to back anything up. We're good to go. Wait a minute. Hold on. Go up top. We do. See how that overhangs right there, that lip? We don't want that lip. So we're gonna back that up. And in doing so, we're going to realize that the hanger pieces need to go back one more. All right, put that second one in there just to line that up. We got to do this whole thing again. Alright, now that everything is repositioned and rethemed for the millionth time, it's time to put the decline back in the bow of the ship. And yeah, only to have us 10 hours from now take it apart again. 10? Probably not 10, probably 20 hours. I don't know, depending on how this comes together from speeding up everything. One thing about it, though, you don't need the trigger areas for putting it in after you back everything up, but it just takes up too much space using all those small pieces. Alright, get that mountain middle. And for now, we put that in here. Theme of Death Star. And even though we're not keeping these, I guess I'll just explain what I'm doing here, because the concept applies for every time you put two angles up to each other. You see light through it. So I'm blocking it off, whether you're putting ramps together, stairs together, slopes together, whatever. You can see light through it. So where they join together, you need to put something in the middle. And if you can cut corners, you can leave the middle open wherever you can. I'm not talking about where they meet, but if you notice, I just capped off the ends, because we should know once you cap the ends off, you shouldn't be able to get inside. If you can't see light through it, I don't care. If you can see light through it, then I would say fix it. The only thing you'd ever have to worry about is when you're building, sometimes when you exit spark mode, you get stuck in a space that you don't want to be in if you didn't make everything solid. But we have to cut corners if you're making a big toy box. You got to cut corners, and if you're never going to be in a place, you can make it hollow. Thanks everyone for watching. If you enjoyed what you saw, smash that like button. And guess what? There's even more. Click on any of these boxes to view more awesome stuff. And don't forget to click that big subscribe button so you can be notified of all my upcoming videos. And again, I want to thank you for watching. This has been That Brown Bat signing off.
CIAO.